Eastern Illinois head coach Chris Wilkerson. The Panthers coming off a non-conference game at McNeese State. They're going to be home. It's their home finale, hosting 19th ranked Southeast Missouri on Saturday. So, Coach, just some thoughts on your team, and then we'll go to questions.
Yeah, thanks for having us again, Kyle. The last week certainly unique having a non-league game, especially that far away late in the year. But hey, I was super proud of the guys' effort. We played smart again. We only had one penalty, so one penalty in the last two football games. Lots of players earned their first opportunity of substantial playing time or first collegiate or Division I starts. But obviously we're a little banged up right now. So we had 18 starters out, 17 before the game, and then we had our kicker that was taken off the airplane before we took off with the flu running through our football team. So the end result wasn't what we wanted, but the effort was good. Again, we're playing smart. We're giving effort, but just way too many missed tackles, explosive plays allowed. Certainly didn't stop their running game like we had anticipated or needed to do. And so we ended up on the short end of the stick, but an amazing opportunity again this week to host a top 20 team. Coach Tuke and his staff have put together an amazing football team, strong culture, strong personnel, well coached. And so it is senior day at O'Brien Stadium, and it's our last chance as this group, the 22 version of EIU Panthers, to play at home. So we're excited about that opportunity.
Thanks, Coach. We'll go with some questions. Dan, fire away with whatever you got.
Well, you mentioned senior day. I'm going to be talking to Cam Leach tomorrow, and I know you've only had him for 1 year, but I guess just you can give me some general comments about the seniors as a whole, but also obviously about Cam.
Yeah. First of all, the entire senior class, and again, it's unique because we've had so many guys that, could be a sixth year. Some guys could be seventh year. They've got their COVID years, and each individual player is in a different situation in terms of where they're at academically. Cam's a guy that's going to graduate. Technically, he could play one more season of football, but he'd like to go to law school or study law at Ohio State or University of Illinois. So it's just something that we don't have the opportunity for him to do here. But Cam has been just an amazing young man. He's been a steady force for our defensive front. Was banged up just a little bit early in the season, but he does provide us, a strong physical presence in our front. A guy gives great effort. He's been a great mentor to the younger players. It was almost like having another coach, with the guys during the summer, with some of the guys that we added late that were with us first time during the summer training leading up to preseason camp. So Cam has been phenomenal, and I'm looking forward to watching him just, finish his career. And I want to make sure, as I've talked to the team on Sunday, we want to do everything we can to try to send the seniors out on the right note. The class in general, I would say, again, a very resilient group of young people. They have had to overcome things that everybody's had to overcome the last couple of years with the global pandemic, and some of the isolation stuff and the different seasons. But at the same time here, some of those guys, they've played for 3 different head coaches, or they've played for 4 different position coaches, and they have stayed at Eastern Illinois University. They have put in a ton of sweat equity, if you will, and blood, sweat, and tears into this program. And I couldn't be more thrilled for those guys and proud of them and in terms of their ability just to hold on to the rope and continue to try to finish what they started. They've been a great group of people, and they will always, always be part of this program.
You mentioned the flu kind of making its way through your team. Has that had it run its course, or are you still feeling effects of that?
There's still a couple guys that were, not around for our Sunday workouts, and that we don't anticipate being around today. We think we're on the back end of it, but we did have, 15 to 20 guys and a couple staff members that were really hit pretty hard in the last 10 days. But hey, again, it's that time of the year, and hey, it could be a lot worse. We're not in the middle of a global pandemic right now, and so we can control our attitude, our approach, and our response as we show up every single day, and we will.
How's your quarterback situation look going into the game?
Yeah, so Dom Schaffner will be our quarterback this week. Again, Jonah's still day to day. We'll see what happens with him, and if and when the opportunity presents itself, some people might even see some guys that they're not as familiar with at the quarterback position in terms of guys that would be backups right now. A young man named Kevin Conway, who played at Providence Catholic in the southwest suburbs of Chicago. And then another young man named Justin Kowalik from the Chicagoland area, that are both first-year guys, eligibility-wise. Those are kind of 2 and 3 going into this weekend. And so, we'll see how practice goes this week. Everybody obviously knows we're being evaluated every day, but today, Dom Schaffner is our starting quarterback.
I got one more for you, and then I'll turn over to Kyle. you're facing Geno Hess. I mean, seems like the guy's been around forever, but just a great back. So I guess just tell me what you see about on film.
Oh, absolutely. Best running back we've seen so far. He runs the Hess Express, runs with his shoulders over his toes. He's an Illinois kid from Peoria, school's all-time leading rusher, 14 touchdowns right now this year. He does a better job than any back that I've seen this year of keeping his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. And when he wants to get vertical, he's patient. He's got great vision. He sticks a foot. He gets back in phase with blocking, never afraid to run through contact. And if we don't tackle very well, he is going to shred us. And so he presents a tremendous challenge. He is a phenomenal football player, one of the best running backs I've seen in 28 years. And he's just had a phenomenal career. So hats off to them, certainly recruiting and developing and retaining, and then certainly feeding him the ball. But he's a heck of a football player.
Thank you.
Coach Hess, Hess, and then their passing attack gets a lot of credit. They just shut out TSU though, and that was their first shutout since 1997. So what about their defense? It seems that's probably much improved from maybe where they were. I know this is your first year, but from where they have been.
Yeah, no, again, Coach Tuke and his staff have done a phenomenal job top to bottom. So yeah, their offense gets a lot of publicity and rightfully so. They're big and physical up front. Their tight ends are big. Both quarterbacks, I mean, the transfer has been phenomenal. And then to have Agbana as your backup, who started 11 games last year, that's just amazing. I mean, he got banged up against TSU, the transfer did, and Agbana finishes the game or plays. To have that guy is amazing. We talked about Hess. Their wide receiver core is as deep as anybody we will see all year. There's probably multiple guys in that room that will play on Sundays. But like you said, Kyle, the defense has improved a ton. They're big and physical and disruptive up front. They base out of their 3-4 package. Their edge players are super physical and fast. The linebackers are runner and hitters, but the length and athleticism and physicality that they provide in their secondary is about as good as anybody we've seen all year. They're very, very well coached. They give up very few explosive plays. They keep the ball in front of them and they leverage the ball very well at times. They're very good with their hands as a group, and they transition off of blocks extremely well, and they tackle well as a unit. And that's really what it comes down to on defense nowadays. Everybody wants to talk about RPOs and fancy offenses and everything else, but the fundamentals of the game haven't changed since the late 1800s. It's people that can block and tackle and transition off of blocks and throw and catch. They are fundamentally sound across the board as a football program. And so it's a tremendous challenge for us, and we're looking forward to the opportunity to compete on Saturday.
The question you answered about seniors, and last week you talked about a little bit, you have a small class this year. You don't know what's going to happen if they use that extra year, they go somewhere else. Next year, you might have a lot bigger class. So what's that sort of say? Like, you're experienced this year, but the senior class is kind of small. Next year, you're very experienced.
Certainly. Yeah. We talked about the recruiting thing last week. And if we are able to retain those that plan on, as of right now, to come back to Eastern Illinois University, then yes, we are going to have a much more experienced football team next fall, and certainly have a much bigger senior class next fall. That remains to be seen. Right now, I think our focus is on trying to get better today, certainly trying to prepare this weekend and trying to take care of this senior group of student athletes, this weekend and the last week of the regular season this year. So, but yeah, there are a lot of young guys on the roster, and certainly a number of players that would be a year older and bigger and faster and stronger. But again, like I said, our focus is totally on SEMO and just trying to get better today.
Dan, you have anything else?
No, I'm good. Thank you both.
Coach, thanks for your time. Best of luck on Saturday, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys.